So here we are in the pirate area. It's really not that impressive as far as its pirateness, but I'll buff up and be right back. Like a lot of areas in Storm Mosaic here, this area is very tight. So I am going to send my tank out to wake things up instead of trying to just charge in. And then once we have a front line established, we'll bring in the archers. And there's another group of them over here, but they don't seem to be getting involved, so I'll clean up everything later. Just going to charge on in. Here's an arcane nexus for us to go pick up information about. So I have my attenuator hotkeyed, and we get a charged and arcane attenuator. Very, well, it's there. We got more pirates to kill though, so let's get to it. Since this area is so tight, it's actually quite easy for the dinosaur to get stuck. He's not really very useful in areas like this. So let's just charge right in. And, they, they, they banter at you, but they don't really say anything interesting, so. I should probably heal people, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. So that's it for the pirates. I'll clean up and meet you back outside. Now that we have a charged attenuator, I'm going to go hand it in. Since you can only have one, you can only pick up one at a time. As soon as you find one, you pretty much have to charge back to Neverwinter to get rid of it. So I'll do that. I'll just go over briefly what we got from the pirates. We got bracers of armor +2, which are technically better than what our tank is currently wearing, so I guess I should give it to her. Talos' Fury, which is an okay spear, not great. A short bow +2. Chef Gronk's Tenderizer, which has on-hit stun, which it wouldn't be a bad weapon if it weren't a war mace. So we're just going to sell it all to our favorite Gnoll, and let's see what he adds when we hand in our first arcane attenuator. And he hands it in, and he tells you he's going to give you Fan Learning Scrolls, which more or less it's an XP reward. But the interesting part about Fan Learning Scrolls is that you don't have to use them right away, and I'm actually not going to. Since you gain more XP if you're lower level relatively, and there aren't that many really hard fights, I'd rather hold off on using the scrolls so that I can gain more XP from other things and then use them near the end so that we get to the higher final level. There's one area right near the end of the game where you want to be as high level as possible. Handing in the first one gets you a few more spells for sale from the Gnoll, as well as more bracers of armor +2 if I really wanted to give that to everyone. I'm not going to worry about those because I'm going to go find a +3 armor enchantment shortly. once I have enough money to start spending money on enchanting as opposed to spending money on setting up trade routes. He also sells Vampiric Weapon if that's your thing. While we're in town, let's talk to Astramaris and see if there's anything else we can do as far as their quests, since we completed one, which was set up the trade outpost. She doesn't have any other work, unless you go and say you want to attain the next rank within the cartel, which costs 1,000 trade bars, which I have. And then she has a new quest for you, which is up in New Leaf, which is a town that I haven't been to yet. I just want to pick up the quest now so that when I go up to New Leaf, I don't have to walk back there twice. It's not exactly what you'd call in the middle of civilization. While we're here, we can also talk to Many Coins Erasmus, making sure that if you have multiple people in your party and they all have different skills, only the ones that are nearby can actually join the conversation. So we want to talk to Many Coins and ask for permission to open our orphanage here. And, with diplomacy, he'll say, sure. And we can now go hand that in to Neval. I'm just doing that now because I'm just about to hit the next level. And we also get 750 trade bars for doing that, which is fairly useful. Each trade bar is about 15 gold, which means that was about a, good 10,000 gold reward. Much better than the rewards we've gotten for some of these other quests. I'll gain my levels off screen and be right back. I'd like to set up my last two trade caravans, which come from Conyberry and New Leaf, which are the two of the three towns we haven't been to yet. But to do so, I'm going to need a little more cash. So I'm going to head back to our Crossroad Keep headquarters and see what the income is like. We talk to Variel, and we get 12,000 trade bars. And that's probably more than enough for what we need to do. So, we're going to exchange trade bars for gold. I'm going to keep like 2,000 trade bars and send the rest in. And now we have almost 250,000 gold, which is pretty handy. We've talked to enough merchants, so let's talk to Volo and turn that quest in. And he gives us another 2,000 gold. And he wants us to interview bandits. Okay. Well, we'll get back to that. There's also an item here which I skipped earlier, which is an adventurer's guide. And essentially, each page you read of it gives you 10 XP. And there are something like 20 pages. And I'm just browsing through it really fast. Once you read everything, you get to carry it with you, and it gives you a small bonus to lore and survival skills. It is an item that is active in your inventory, but it already has 3 attributes associated with it, so you can't further enchant it, which is annoying, but that's the way it goes. Our first stop is going to be Conyberry, which is north of Phandalin here. We're just going to walk there. You just follow the road, pretty much, so I'm not going to bother showing the entire trip. On our way, though, we ran into some bandits, and we are going to attempt to bribe them to let us go and tell them we want to talk to their leader, which, needless to say, confuses them. You could probably use that confusion in an attack, but we don't, because we want to finish Volo's mission because Volo is crazy. Anyway, here's Conyberry. And will require 500 trade bars and 10 units of skins. It's rather expensive to build things here. And I'll set up my trade routes. So setting up just 2 trade routes and upgrading them to 3 gives me sort of a cost of almost 60,000 gold. So bringing along 200,000 is not too little, and I hope actually we have enough. Getting to New Leaf requires quite a bit of cross-country travel, and these are probably the most dangerous areas on the overland map. That doesn't mean they're that dangerous, though. I will try and clear out everything sort of on this trip rather than coming back here, though there is one area which can be, well, it's rather dangerous. This ruined keep here, though, is a very important little location to visit. There are some gargoyles in the first room that don't do anything. The most important thing is this AC bonus enchantment +4 recipe. This spell resistance recipe, not so important. Cloak of resistance +5 and amulet of health I'll pick up. I'm not going to bother with bracers of armor +3. I'm never going to make them. Despite the warnings you get, you can actually just continue to rest in here. It says the place is in imminent danger, but nothing ever actually attacks you. So you can use this as kind of a free in the middle of nowhere if you need it. But we're going to continue next time because this is about all the time we have for this episode of Let's Play Storm of Zahir.